Hello everyone and welcome to my preview of New Japan Pro Wrestling's Wrestle Grand Slam show in the Tokyo Dome. It has been a hot ass minute since I've talked about New Japan on the channel, or just Japanese Pro Wrestling in general, as man, this is it's sad what has happened with New Japan as far as with COVID and everybody's the scheduling issues and whatnot. And there's even more problems going on with New Japan now, as poor Kota Ibushi has been diagnosed with aspiration pneumonia. As really aspiration pneumonia, that is quite fucking serious. It's basically where something, either it's like food or fluids or even just like stomach contents, are somehow breathed into your lungs through the windpipe, and it just kind of results in a severe like cough and fucking wheezing, and even could choke and die. Like, it's very, very serious. Hopefully that gets taken care of. Like, that is scary, scary stuff. Hopefully poor Kota Ibushi will be okay, because, dear God, I can't handle that. If that does not go well, that would be very, very, very bad and very, very sad. As for, it's going to be a game time decision. I'm recording this on the 22nd, which is a little early. A couple of days ago it got reported, and basically, what, usually the recovery time is anywhere between 5 days to 2 weeks, depending on how severe it is. And, so if it's on the shorter end of the scale, he might be able to do it. But if it's a lot more serious than what we believe to be, then yeah, he's definitely got to be able to make the show and not be able to perform in the main event, which I'm definitely on the side of caution. Sure, this is the Tokyo Dome, and sure, this will be a very big deal. But I think Kota Ibushi is going to lose the match anyways. And I don't think really Kota Ibushi really needs to lose in this case. He's just coming off of a couple of big-time losses. He beat Jeff Cobb at Dominion, but even then, I just feel like he could definitely not be needed in this matchup. They could have somebody replace him. Could it be Kenta? Could be Tanahashi. It could be anybody, really, as far as like the top echelon guys who are not booked on this show, that could definitely fill in for this spot here in the main event for Kota Ibushi if he's not fit to compete against Shingo Takagi. But as far as the card goes, it's not bad. There's a lot of matches I'm intrigued by. There's a lot of matches I'm like, oh, that could actually be really fun. So that's exciting for as far as the Tokyo Dome show. Obviously, I think the crowd's going to be a little bit on the thin side because of COVID precautions still. So there is that. That does suck. But, it is what it is. We got to be safe. Got to be safe out there, especially in Tokyo and especially in Japan, where, I don't know how they haven't canceled that fucking Olympics yet. It's a shitty thing to happen to a country, to have that big of a prestige be bestowed upon you. The bidding and all the money that you've put into this Olympics, and then to not even have it, and that would definitely suck. But it is what it is at this point. Who would have thought this would have happened? But that's what happens. When a global pandemic hits, and we're still recovering from that. So hopefully Japan 2022 could be their year, and we can go back into the swing of things and back into normal schedule or whatnot, because it just sucks that seeing really Japanese pro wrestling, really, I would say New Japan the most has really been affected by this schedule-wise. I miss the, we really should have had, like, the Best Super Juniors by now. We should be in the G1 right now, and it's just, like, we're stuck with still, the G1's not having until September. I think they're doing the fucking, the Best Super Juniors still in, like, December, like they did last year, which is fine. I'd rather take that than the fucking World Tag League, but even then, still sucks that we're not back to normalcy. But that's what happens, though, when a pandemic gets a little out of hand, and we are still recovering from it. As far as this 6-match card, it starts off with the New Japan Rambo, which I do love that happening in this New Japan, going back to the Tokyo Dome, which again, first time that the Tokyo Dome show is taking place for any Japanese promotion that's not happening on the 4th and 5th. I believe, if memory serves me correct, the last time that has happened was October 8th, 2005. I can tell you the main event because I will never forget it for as long as I live. Triple threat match for the IWGP Heavyweight title. Kazuchika Vegeta, the champion, defending against Masahiro Chono and Brock Lesnar, which, of course, Brock Lesnar winning, and that was during Brock Lesnar's tear in New Japan before he would go on to leave and join the UFC. But man, crazy to think it's been that long since somebody has ran a non-January 4th, now January 5th, since that's become a tradition, Tokyo Dome event. And fucking, it took from hell and high water and a pandemic, but we're getting it July 25th. Even if the main event might be a much different main event than what it's been scheduled to be. As far as this New Japan Rambo match, it was between handcuffs and blindfolds, and I believe handcuffs is one. That's probably going to be a lot better than the blindfolds, because really blindfolds, there's only been a handful of blindfold matches that have actually worked. Usually they've happened in DDT. Just from the referee standpoint, just there's a tremendous referee over there in DDT that is really, as far as comedy matches goes, probably the best referee to ever, be a part of that, because it takes everybody involved in comedy matches and whatnot to do that, especially in a type of gimmick match like that, where it's kind of based more on the comedy side. The thing about if this was going to be a blindfold match, it'd have to be done quickly. Matches have to be very, very quick for a blindfold match to side on the side of caution, to where it's actually going to be a good match instead of it being a clusterfuck and it being just a dragged out mess. Luckily, though, we don't have to worry about that with handcuffs, which should be interesting as far as how's that going to be played out, who's going to be involved and whatnot, because still, the number of entrants, it's still going to be announced at a later date, so we'll see before the show. I'm sure it's going to be the day before. They'll probably say the number of entrants, rather, that are taking place in the match. I'm expecting somewhere between 10 and 12. I don't think it's going to be that big. Who knows, maybe it's going to be on the bigger side, maybe 20. But I'm going to lowball it thanks to COVID. But who knows, though. They might, there's a lot of people that are not booked on this show that they could definitely throw in there. So there is that. As far as who's going to win this goddamn thing, if it's a King of Pro Wrestling matchup, Toru Yano's definitely going to be the odds-on favorite to win it. I really have no idea who else it'd be. I just feel like that's Toru Yano's trophy. That's just Toru Yano's division. It could be anybody at this point. It's just because it's such a crazy matchup. I would love for them to do something pretty nuts and on the side of just a out of nowhere type of finish. But I don't, really, I have no idea. This is all up to get at this point. I have no really big insight in this matchup. It could be goddamn anybody at this point. As for the next matchup, Junior Heavyweight Tag Team title matchup, as Rocky Romero and Ryusuke Taguchi taking on El Phantasmo and Taiji Shimori. What a fun little junior tag team matchup on paper. How is this going to deliver? That's another question. But really, these four men, they're talented enough to put on a really good matchup. It's just going to be about, can they do it? Are they going to have enough time for it? Is El Phantasmo going to ruin it? I'm assuming Phantasmo and Taguchi are going to ham it up in there. Going to be a lot of comedy stuff in there. But, Rocky can still go. Taguchi can still go when the time is needed. And, obviously, Taiji Shimori is definitely probably the most talented of the four. If I had to guess right now, and just in 2021, I would say he is definitely over El Phantasmo. That's just me, though. I'm sure there's other people that think otherwise and think El Phantasmo is the more talented one. But as far as who's going to win this is their first defense for El Phantasmo and Taiji Shimori. I would side with the champions. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if they give the babyfaces a win, though. In the Tokyo Dome would be a lot of fun, but I just don't see them as a permanent team. That's what New Japan is kind of stuck with, though. A lot of their tag division is very, very slim, especially the Junior Heavyweight Tag Team division. It's pretty much El Phantasmo and Taiji Shimori and Sho and Yo. And you could say Despy and Kanemaru, but Despy's got his Junior Heavyweight title, so he's just kind of doing his thing there. So really, that's as much as the Junior Heavyweight division is. I mean, it's 3 teams, and now you're making Rocky and Taguchi a team, add to that, and it's, even then, that's far few teams for a division. It's a damn shame, but, that's what we're stuck with in New Japan. It is what it is. As far as if they can get talent from the States to be a part of the junior division, that would be great. I feel like that's going to be, or they actually sign people from in the Japanese, just kind of the Japanese scene, but New Japan rarely ever does that. I mean, you could probably count on one hand the amount of people they have actually signed as far as free agents from other companies in Japan. Like, really, it's Taiji Shimori and Shingo, and like, I feel like that's it. Like, it's very slim. Well, I guess other than that, that's probably it. As far as this decade, it's nobody. But as far as the previous decade, the 2010s, I feel like that's probably it. As far as guys did not come from the dojo or anything like that, like, very seldom do they actually sign people from other companies. But who knows? Maybe finally Geto would change his ways, but I highly doubt it. I would be not waiting with bated breath on that one. But yeah, I'm expecting the champions to win there. This is the second matchup, the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship matchup. Robbie Eagles taking on El Desperado. This is going to be Desperado's third defense. Man, I would love to see Robbie Eagles upset El Desperado here and become the new IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion. I know it's crazy. Now it's a big deal, especially at the Tokyo Dome, and Despi's done a really good job of filling in for Hiromu Takahashi since Hiromu's injury. But this would be awesome to see Robbie Eagles get a big-time win here at the Tokyo Dome and beating Desperado and really give that division a fresh face and whatnot. Because really, Despi has kind of been stuck with kind of somewhat not-so-great challengers. Really, with the Yo match, and even before, like, the Show match was fine, but not on the same level as kind of the other Junior Heavyweight title matches in the past, obviously. I.e., Hiromu and fucking Dragon Lee. But here in this match, this could be really well. Robbie Eagles is so talented, and they're finally giving him a big-time spot here in this Junior Heavyweight title matchup. I would love to see him get the win here. I really do. I'm going to side on the side of caution and go with Despi getting the win, though, as far as my official prediction. But I would love to see Robbie Eagles get the win there and beat El Desperado at the Tokyo Dome. So our next matchup, Kazuchika Okada versus Jeff Cobb. Man, Jeff Cobb is getting some big-time matches. I love to see it. And I would love to see Jeff Cobb beat Kazuchika Okada here. That would be such a huge win. Here in the Tokyo Dome in a singles match, that would definitely solidify him as a top threat. Especially going into the G1 in a couple of months. That would be fucking massive. However, again, it is Kazuchika Okada. This is the Tokyo Dome. I feel like Okada, if you look at his probably win-loss percentage in the Tokyo Dome, it is probably far more superior on the winning side than the losing side. And, man, he didn't put over Ospreay, which thank God he didn't, at the Tokyo Dome this year. And I just feel like the best decision for, I think, New Japan, as far as giving Jeff Cobb a credible threat, would be to have him beat Kazuchika Okada here. He lost to Ibushi, so you have that going for him. So if you lose to Ibushi and Okada, you kind of solidify them that he's not a really major threat, and he's just going to be kind of outside the main event scene. Which, I personally think that's a mistake, but I think with New Japan, they're just like, well, Ospreay is the main guy for them as far as the United Empire, so if there's somebody else on that same level, it would kind of, maybe in Ghetto's eyes, would probably be like, well, it doesn't make Ospreay as a credible threat. Now there's, maybe Cobb is the more credible threat of the two, which I personally would prefer and love. Let's get Ospreay the fuck out of here. But, obviously, Ghetto and New Japan are citing a much different path. But I would love to see Cobb get the win here. I think it's going to be a banger of a matchup. Okada's had pretty great 2021, even in the stretch of the COVID-19 still going rampant. He's had some great matches. Him and Ospreay, him and Shingo, both at the New Japan Cup and also just at Dominion. Obviously, it helps taking on great guys as well, but him and Jeff Cobb could really have a banger. Jeff Cobb had a banger with Shingo at the Tokyo Dome. I thought it was the best match at the Tokyo Dome shows. To be honest, I know that's probably a bit of I would say a minority opinion. I think a lot of people think the Ibushi Jay White match was really great, which it was a great match. Don't get me wrong, but I just don't think it was on that level, because I thought that match was fucking crazy. But this is going to be quite the matchup, depending on how that goes. If they go with Cobb getting the win and solidifying him as a big-time threat, that'd be awesome. But again, too, Okada just now lost to Shingo, He hasn't had a great winning percentage as far as in 2021, as far as big time matches goes. Maybe they give him a win here, which would suck, but I would understand it too, from Geto's perspective. As far as the next matchup, the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Titles matchups, and it's a co-main event matchup too, so that's really fun. Tetsuya Naito and Sanada, the new champions. They just beat the former champion Zack Sabre Jr. and Taichi 2 weeks ago at a Summer Struggle show, taking on Zack Sabre Jr. and Taichi in the rematch. My God, awesome that they put Sanada and Naito, just fucking combine their names there, but Sanada and Naito getting the tag team champions. Really have been one of my favorite tag team champions in a long ass time, because it just makes so much sense. Like, they're probably my favorite champs since Tanahashi and Kota Ibushi, which is funny how it's been kind of two single stars combining, but I just feel like that's the best way of going about it for New Japan. But the Zack Sabre Jr. Taichi team is great. Don't get me wrong, they're a great team. As far as actual teams goes, in Japan, in New Japan specifically, they're definitely the best as far as New Japan's standards are concerned, as far as an actual legit tag team. They're probably the best they have. Dangerous Tekkers is awesome. However, though, I just don't see them getting the belt off of Sanada and Tetsuya Naito. They just put the belt on them. They could be a great tag team in the future. I think this is a great spot for Naito and Sanada both, so they're not in the title picture, and they don't have to challenge Shingo. They can do their thing, and really LIJ could be both World Heavyweight and Heavyweight Tag Team Champions as well, so it really gives the belts, a lot of perspective. And plus, Hiromu was champion, too, before the injury happened, so they would have had basically the tag belts, the World Heavyweight, and the IWGP Junior Heavyweight. Would have been awesome to see, but, again, we have injuries. Just another death blow for New Japan. Excited to see this match. I think it's going to be really well, and I think the crowd's going to be all over it. Hopefully, again, Naito and Sanada get the win there. Main event, and a questionable main event because I don't know what's going to happen. Shingo Takagi versus Kota Ibushi? Question mark. Could be somebody else. They haven't yet said who's going to be a replacement, and I don't think they'll say it until the day of the show, I'm sure. Again, as far as names, who it could be, Tanahashi makes a lot of sense. Kenta makes a lot of sense. As far as who else it could be, I really have no idea besides those two guys. They might pull somebody out of nowhere, but I highly, highly doubt it. It just makes a whole lot of sense. In a dream world, in a dream scenario, where there's no restrictions on travel or whatnot, since Jon Moxley just dropped the belt to Lance Archer, that would be fucking awesome to see. Obviously, that would never happen because COVID, but that'd be a great short-term replacement. Having Jon Moxley main event the Tokyo Dome against Shingo Takagi, that would be a big marquee matchup and a big-time Tokyo Dome main event. However, of course, that's not going to happen. So, Kenta and Shingo makes a lot of sense. They've had their history. Would be awesome. Tanahashi and Shingo, they've also had their history. Tanahashi beating Shingo at the New Beginning show and then becoming the champion. So that was the never openweight champion. So that is also really, really cool. That would also play into that factor as well. As far as, Shingo's got to win this. Shingo, finally, they did it. Yeah, they put the belt on him. Fantastic. He beat Okada, too. Awesome stuff. It's his first time he's main event in the Tokyo Dome. He's going in as the champion. They've had to really hot potato the belt around a lot thanks to the Ospreay fiasco. And really, they shouldn't even put the belt on beforehand. They should have just went from Ibushi to Shingo. Would have made a lot more sense now in hindsight looking at it, because he would have had the belt from January to July. You wouldn't have to worry about that, but here we are. We've had to go through a lot of this. And plus Shingo too. Shingo came up short against Ospreay. So then they even discredited Shingo as well. We're just kind of stuck in a shit situation because of, I would say, shitty booking, but also shitty circumstances too for New Japan. But definitely Shingo's got to win this. And really, there's not going to be a lot of belts that are going to be changed on this show. I would say if there's going to be a belt change, it'd definitely be the Junior Heavyweight Championship. They might do the Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles, but just because that division, as far as the 4 title matches, it's definitely the least prestigious of the 4, so that would make sense. But I just don't see really a lot of title changes happening, and they shouldn't, to be honest. There's still a good bit of stuff to happen in New Japan as far as building towards the next Tokyo Dome show for Wrestle Kingdom. You know, you have the whole G1 to book. You have a lot of stuff happening. I don't think Shingo should drop the belt until... I don't even think he should drop it at Wrestle Kingdom. I think he should hold the belt for even longer than that. That's just me personally. I think he's the best guy they have right now, and you might as well keep it on the best guy until COVID is kind of on its dying legs, and if we can get back to normalcy, then maybe we can contemplate him dropping the belt, maybe post G1, or even at the following Tokyo Dome show, so 2 years down the line. I think that would be the best case scenario for New Japan. They could use a really long reign, and they could have someone like Shingo deliver banger matches after banger matches. And it'd be a lot of fun stuff like him and Goto in IWGP heavyweight title matches. Him and even Ishii if you want. Like, he just can wrestle anybody. He's just so perfect as a champion, as a big-time level champion. He's going to be great, and he's going to deliver in a lot of big-time matches. Can't wait to see the reign. Can't wait to see the show, no matter what the incarnation is. As I'm not sure as far as... Because I don't think I'll be able to do a review for the show because I will be leaving on vacation shortly after the show. So I don't think I'll even have time for it. But should be exciting to see how it all plays out. It's been, Dominion, I was very much like looking forward to the main event, and that was about it. For this show, though, I am excited to see how the whole card plays out. I think there's a lot of intriguing matchups, and I think there's a lot of intriguing stuff happening. So that's fun, and that's a nice sign to see for New Japan. I hope you all are excited for it as well, and we'll catch you guys next time for, I'm assuming, I don't even know what will be my next preview of New Japan will be after this. I'm assuming it's some type of show maybe in August, or if not, it's going to be the G1. So we'll see you guys then. Take care, everyone.